The Desert Rose Diner sat along Highway 93 in Nevada, a throwback to simpler times with its red vinyl booths and checkerboard floors. On this particular Saturday afternoon, Marcus Kane pulled his Harley into the parking lot, his 10-year-old son, Riley, clinging tight behind him. At 48, Marcus had been riding with the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club for 20 years. The leather vest, the tattoos, the weathered face told a story of a man who had lived hard. But fatherhood had softened him in ways he never expected. Riley climbed off the bike, his hands immediately covering his ears. The boy had autism, and new places often overwhelmed him with sensory input. The sounds, the smells, the unfamiliar faces all became too much too quickly. "It's okay, buddy," Marcus said gently, kneeling down to his son's level. "We'll find a quiet corner. Just you and me like always." They entered the diner, and Marcus felt the familiar stares. People saw the leather, the club patches, and made assumptions. He was used to it. What mattered was Riley. A waitress with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail approached them. Her name tag read Marina. She appeared to be in her mid-30s, with kind eyes and a genuine smile. "Welcome to Desert Rose," she said warmly. "Table for two?" Before Marcus could respond, Riley began rocking back and forth, his hands still pressed against his ears. A high-pitched humming came from his throat, a self-soothing mechanism he used when stressed. "The corner booth," Marcus said quietly, "away from the kitchen noise if possible." Marina's expression shifted from professional courtesy to immediate understanding. "Follow me. I know just a spot." She led them to the quietest corner of the diner, away from the front door and the kitchen pass-through. As Riley slid into the booth, Marina did something unexpected. She dimmed the overhead light above their table, without being asked. "Is that better?" She asked Riley directly, not Marcus. She spoke in a calm, measured tone. Riley's humming softened. He peeked out from behind his hands and gave the smallest nod. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Most people talked over Riley, directing questions to Marcus as if the boy wasn't there. Marina treated him with dignity. "Can I get you both something to drink?" she asked. "We have milk, juice, soda, water." Riley's hands dropped slightly. "Chocolate milk," he whispered. "Chocolate milk it is." Marina smiled. "And for you, sir?" "Coffee, Black," Marcus said. "And thank you for understanding." Marina nodded. "My younger brother has autism. I know how overwhelming new places can be." As she walked away, Marcus watched Riley begin to relax. The boy pulled out his favorite toy car from his pocket and began rolling across the table, counting the rotations under his breath. They ordered their food, and Marina continued to check on them with gentleness that made Riley feel safe. She brought extra napkins without being asked, noticed when Riley's straw had fallen, and never rushed them. Then the manager appeared. Frank Morrison was a man in his early 60s, red-faced and perpetually annoyed. He stormed over to their table, his voice loud enough to make Riley flinch. "Marina, what are you doing? You've been at this one table for 20 minutes. I've got 6 other tables that need service." Riley's hand shot back over his ears. His humming grew louder, more distressed. "Mr. Morrison, I'm managing my section," Marina said calmly. "These guests needed a bit more attention." "I don't care what they need," Frank snapped. "You work for me, not them. Now get moving or get out." Marcus stood slowly, his full height and presence suddenly filling the space. She was doing her job. My son needs patience, and she's been nothing but professional. Frank looked Marcus up and down, his lip curling. "I don't need motorcycle trash telling me how to run my diner. And I don't need employees who waste time babysitting when there's work to be done." Riley's distress was escalating. Other diners were starting to stare. Marina's face flushed. "Mr. Morrison, please lower your voice. The child is sensitive to loud sounds. Then maybe you shouldn't be in a public restaurant. Frank shot back. Marina, you're fired. Get your things and leave. Now! The words hung in the air like a slap. Marina's eyes widened, but she didn't argue. She simply untied her apron, her hand shaking slightly. I understand, she said quietly. Marcus felt rage building in his chest, but Riley needed him calm. He guided his son gently from the booth, speaking softly. We're leaving, buddy. Let's get some fresh air. Outside, Marcus helped Riley onto the bike, but his mind was racing. Marina had been fired for showing basic human kindness, for treating his son with dignity. He pulled out his phone and sent a text to the Iron Wolves group chat. Need the Brotherhood at Desert Rose Diner on Highway 93. Now, a good person needs our support. Within an hour, motorcycles began arriving. First 10, then 50, then hundreds. Members from different chapters across 3 states, all responding to Marcus's call. The rumble of engines filled the desert air. By the time the sun began to set, over 1,000 bikers lined the highway outside Desert Rose Diner. They didn't block the entrance. They didn't threaten anyone. They simply stood there, a wall of leather and loyalty, their bikes gleaming in the fading light. Frank Morrison came outside, his face pale. The parking lot was empty of regular customers, too intimidated by the massive gathering to enter. Marcus stepped forward, Riley safe with another club member's wife who specialized in working with special needs children. We're not here to cause trouble, Marcus said, his voice carrying across the crowd. We're here because you fired a woman for being kind to a child who needed patience. You fired her for treating my autistic son like a human being. Frank stammered. I run my business how I see fit, and we spend our money where we see fit, Marcus replied. Every biker here, every club represented, we all know what happened. Word travels fast in our community. You want to fire people for showing compassion? That's your choice. But we'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you are. An older biker, gray-bearded and weathered, stepped forward. My grandson has autism. What Marina did matters. What you did is unforgivable. Another voice called out, my daughter has special needs. People like Marina are rare. Frank looked around at the sea of faces, at the phones recording, at the social media posts already going viral. His business was finished, and he knew it. I'll rehire her, he said weakly. Too late, Marcus said, but I'll tell you what happens now. The Iron Wolves and every club here will make sure Marina lands on her feet. We take care of people who take care of us. Within a week, Marina had 3 job offers from local businesses who had heard her story. She chose a family-owned restaurant whose owners promised her respect and fair treatment. The Desert Rose Diner closed 2 months later, unable to recover from a boycott, and the viral story of a manager who valued efficiency over humanity. Marcus and Riley became regulars at Marina's new workplace. Riley had found a safe place, and Marcus had found renewed faith that good people still existed in the world. Sometimes standing up for what's right means gathering 1,000 friends and showing the world that kindness matters more than convenience.